And that is how a bill becomes a law, Dan. Oh, yeah. Welcome back to Quake Pro League Season 3. We've already seen one set go down, and it was pretty fantastic. But I know a lot of people are waiting for this one, Dan. Swapped it up this season. We got intercontinental play all throughout, and we're going to get nosfa Spart1e in just a few minutes.
Yeah, couldn't have asked for a better brawl for our first global league game, as we have the beast from Brazil up against the Swedish superstar in Spart1e.
The mayonnaise man himself. The party is here, Dan. It's arrived. And I'm excited to see kind of what form both players are in. As you said, nosfa, great showing on land at Iron Fist back in November. Spart1e, unfortunately, couldn't make it, so you kind of wonder, is he raring to go? Is he still going to start up slowly throughout the season? Again, day one of a long season, but it's going to be exciting nonetheless. nosfa always delivers just, lightning in a bottle. And sometimes, unfortunately, that bottle can break and it just goes everywhere, but we'll see exactly what nosfa will turn up. Spart1e, rail-heavy player, can go crazy or just kind of be a shadow of himself. Should be interesting.
Yeah, I think both of them, more than other players, do definitely rely on their mechanics. I feel that nosfa's been under the radar a little bit for the last couple of seasons, partly because obviously Maxter's been on the up and up and maybe taking the light of South America away from him, but he's always been putting in respectable performances and getting himself into decent standings in the leaderboard quite quietly in the background. So he came up with a bang, a couple of years ago, and I guess he's just found his natural level at this point in time. So definitely, again, looking at him to see, is he going to take it a step further, particularly now. I was going to say the NA scene, but we're in a global league, so it doesn't matter so much. But particularly now, Dahang is taking a step back. It does open that door for a bit more breathing room for the rest of the North American leaderboard. So looking at him in a new light.
For sure. I mean, never forget the 1-0 on Blood Run versus Wenger back in QuakeCon. Remember when LAN was a thing? Anyway, we got the pick bands ready. Let's take a look at exactly what we have on the menu between nosfa and Spart1e. Dan, run me through it.
My eyes. We have Vale with same matchup as we saw before. It's a very traditional matchup in the Ranger versus the Swordlag, almost back into early meta. And we already saw Vale come out today. We know what to expect. Spart1e with the pick, though. He will be looking to use the rail, play those angles, which there are a lot of on Vale. And then we move on to Blood Covenant, and I remember back in the day, this was actually a nosfa speciality, and I haven't seen it in so long, I don't even know what to think anymore. We've got almost the original meta in the Nyx versus the Visor, so excited to see that. It is definitely played at a much faster tempo than we saw back in the day, so interested to see how nosfa plays this one, because we understand, the limitations that Visor has now, so he will have to play nice and steady up in that high ground. And then we're going to end up on Ruins of Sarnath with the Strog on nosfa, which he has been playing very well up against the Galena. And Spart1e's going to have to slow the tempo there. He can't afford to overexpose himself, which he has a tendency to do. So he's going to have to play disciplined to really pull off the Galena on Ruins.
And we'll see if he kind of uses that tried and true strategy of, okay, I'm going to get overstack and I'm going to play for the heavy and you're going to have to come into my Temple of Doom. Or, if nosfa is going to be able to string together a couple rails and maybe just slide around the map and take everything at will. But taking a look at this breakdown, Dan, how do you feel? Who do you think is going to take this one?
I'm slightly leaning towards nosfa. I like particularly the Strog pick on map 3. The Ranger equally is an amazing pick on map 1. We know the Visor can work if it's played right, and so nosfa's going to have to slow it down. I have more confidence in nosfa victory here, probably leaning towards a 2-1 though for nosfa.
2-1 for nosfa. We'll see if the chat follows you with their predictions. I think that's well within the realm of possibilities, but again, I think the wild card is Spart1e able to hit 70-ish% rail and just changing everything and flipping it on its head. We'll see if that happens. Again, starting off on Vale is going to be maybe a little bit rougher to hit that. We saw the Ranger versus Sorlag matchup earlier on Insomnia. Might be more of the same if nosfa knows how to use that Dire Orb, closing the gap, just getting that big burst damage, but we'll see. I mean, 2-1 sounds fair to me to nosfa. No disrespect to Spart1e. I think I'm going to hop on that train as well. We'll take a look at chat in a second, see what their predictions are. But I heard the sound, Dan. We're getting into it. Series number 2 for the day between nosfa Spart1e. And again, for those that have their minds blown, yeah, we're doing intercontinental play all throughout the season, round robin action. There's no more regions per se. So everybody has to fight everybody.
Yeah, it's just not enough Americans to have a league anymore, so we had to combine the two.
NA in shambles right now. No, somebody had to go. You know, sit down to 16 players. Everyone plays everyone. I kind of like it. It's nice. It's nice. The first worldwide match right now, set 2 of the day for QPL Season 3, and it's just so good to be back and see that just pasty white face of yours. I love it. I love it.
It's going to be a long season, boys.
It is. It's going to be very long, yeah. Getting into it slowly. I heard it. Never mind, it's a lie. Psyching you out, chat, just like we left it, Dan. Some slight technical difficulties, but, you know, just you know, hanging out until we figure it out. So let me take a look at the predictions.
Get a little bit more used to that now. We've got, you know, this divide.
It's my fault.
Well, it's always
my fault.
Yeah. I don't know why we work with you sometimes.
I don't know. Is it really called work? I don't know. 74% in favor of nosfa.
Okay.
Wow.
That's a bit disrespectful. We also have to account for now, which we didn't last league, and obviously we're used to it in terms of the bracket play, but, you know, server choice. And so we have to understand, you know, that plays a little bit of a factor in the predictions as well. So, you know, chat don't have the full information to make those predictions. That's all I'm saying. Just
blasting in the dark is what they're trying to do, but we'll see. I think the overview does give you a note in the bottom left, if I'm not mistaken. I could be, because I get everything else wrong, what server it's on, if that matters, but your prediction should already be locked in, so it doesn't matter, and I have gotten confirmation for production. It does show up on the HUD, so if you have any questions about score or where the server is and you ask in chat, you will be banned immediately by me, because it's all on the HUD.
But was it on the pick ban?
I don't think it was on the pick ban.
Andre was it
but
on
again,
the pick ban? He's ignoring me. He's literally ignoring me. It's fine. I don't think it was.
Usually it's me getting ignored. This is great.
So that's what I'm saying.
This is equality in the workplace.
You don't have the full information when making your prediction choice. It's back, and it's not.
I already said that it's a shot in the dark, Dan. I already addressed that.
It's not. It's definitely not on there. But I don't know if I'm kind of missing something that should be too obvious to divulge. Is it? Because I don't actually know how they're deciding it for the league.
If you look deep in their eyes, I think that's where you can kind of
I have a question. Why was it that base gets a lovely refresh photo with like a fake tan, and we've still got this one of Spart1e?
First of all, how dare you? You don't know if that's fake. Okay. Second
of
all,
it could be real, but come on, it's a pandemic. Has he really gone from Russia to, like, you know, Bora Bora for a few weeks? He might have done.
I mean, he could. Yeah, he could. Maybe just a bunch of lamps in the house.
Either way, he was
tanning bed. But he was buy a tanning bed.
He was looking so fly. I reckon he just did it himself and was like, I just need to update my look, my brand. It was really good.
Look, you can gush about base. You don't have to make it a backhanded compliment. You could just say, "Damn, he looks good." I mean, that's not weird.
Literally what I'm saying.
Right. We are getting into it, Chad. I promise. I just kicked something. I think it was actually Nick. She hopped on a cable. It's the work from home thing. She just chewed through it. We're trying to get into the server and bring you the action. Vale, Sorlag versus Ranger going to be the first map. But let's just take a minute and be happy that, you know, it's Quake Day. It's been a while. Quake Season 3 finally here for the Pro League. We're going to see a little bit of DJ Wheat later on, that unemployed degenerate. But yeah, it'll be...
He's actually a bum now. He's living up to his look for once. That's amazing.
it'll be great to have Wheat back as well. The crew's all here.
I'm sure
we just need a game.
Yeah, I'm sure Twitch chat, I was going to call them Twatch for a second. Twitch chat has missed the 40 and Dad podcast. This is what it's all about.
Yeah, this is where the content is, for sure. And... you know, once we get the server sorted out, it's going to be such a good game. It's going to be such a fantastic game. It's going to be one of the best games.
God damn Brazilian internet. I'm just throwing it out to Brazil. God damn Brazilian internet.
That's just probably something. That's probably not right. I don't know.
Can I just say,
you're doing it wrong.
You look like a miniature you.
I am.
You just, like one of those Russian dolls. Like every season we've just taken out, and there's a smaller body.
I wish I was getting smaller and smaller. I'm huge. I'm glad the camera cuts off right about you. It's disgusting, Dan.
I mean, you're looking good, unless that's like a moo-moo, and you're just like...
It is.
Very round under there, but yeah.
Very round, yeah. I'm plump. I'm pleasantly plump. I'm chunky but funky. I mean, what do you want from me? I'm trying my best out here.
Oh, God.
I swear,
the
Quake is coming. The Quake is coming, chat. Just hang in there. We like to tease a little bit, build up just anticipation for the game, because again, first one around the world that's during regular season play.
This is great.
I pray that it works.
For the functionality. What's your chain about? I forgot to ask you.
Oh, this? Yeah, it's a little lion.
Okay, why?
Just a little lion. I'd be lying if I didn't say I love it.
Oh, fuck.
It's great. You want one? I can get you one. We can match. Chad,
No,
we were almost
I
going to
would
match.
look way
I was
too-
almost going to wear a black turtleneck, and we
Yeah.
were just going to like work for that one company that always just gives those amazing products out.
I would look way too much like 80s Dwayne Johnson with a chain like that.
You're more jacked than him,
Yeah,
Dan.
except
Give
except
yourself
for
more
white
credit.
and a lot more hair, but
It's fine. It's
Oh,
just
yes,
as many
we're in.
muscles, if not more. We're in. We got it. We got the Quake. It's happening right now. Straight into your veins. Match number 2. It's going to be nosfa versus Spart1e. This is going to be map number 1 of the best of 3. We are live right now. Thanks for hanging in there. We're on Spart1e, the mayonnaise man himself. Never mind nosfa. Just kidding. Psych out again. Hit you with it, chat.
right, we're in. We can finally talk about something that's relevant. Body setting up very early, and nosfa not respecting this bit whatsoever. The orb comes out, it's just a distraction. Spart1e, he's gonna get this and somehow get the frag as well. I don't know how he managed to do that, but the connection was there, and nosfa coming flying back through, taking a couple of rails to the face.
Not a bad start here, but he's going to eat a rail somehow. Dances past that one as nosfa will miss the second one. Never mind. Hits with a conversion now. Down to 60 HP. Spart1e on the run. He's going to grab 225s, maybe a 50 as well. But nosfa now taking map control. So he's going to drop down and try and hit another one, and just barely dodging that rocket. Okay, rail through there, and there's the dire orb play onto the mega. Spart1e will be able to drop onto the heavy. Big fight here in the corridor. Big 100 damage rocket. Can he get the spit? LG? Something. But that something will go nosfa's way as he ties it at 1.
Yeah, messy start coming out here from both these players, but nosfa is the one to tie it up. He's got the high ground as well, and Spart1e just doesn't give a hoot about anything as he goes flying on through. He did know nosfa was low though, had the confidence in his rail, but just didn't connect whatsoever. He's keeping the pressure on, but he's taking a lot of damage once again. And what a rail through the grating! And nearly a second, that would have blown my mind. And Spart1e gets away with a full stack though.
That was, yeah, just nosfa things. Does get pushed in here now. Oh, and he gets the frag. Good job from Spart1e. Unfortunate for nosfa there getting caught off guard. Not able to hit those magic rails. Tied at 2. A lot of action coming at us here on Vale. Great rail from nosfa. Again, tries to convert with another one. Spart1e will come out on top in that duel. Almost an exit rail, but nothing doing for nosfa as the mega will go to Spart1e. And now potential for running the map here?
A little bit. nosfa, whilst he's playing great, you know, Spart1e is playing the items. And that's something nosfa needs to get back into the game and doing, because he's working with absolutely nothing. And yes, Spart1e may be overcommitting, but he's got 2-3 times the stack, the buffer, to make it happen. And that's why he's been making these moves. But it is still 2-2. nosfa slowing it down drastically, meaning he will miss out once again on another major item for free, and Spart1e doesn't even want to go for it. He's going to take the risk to go up high, eats a big rocket, but gets out with his life and the light and the mega, and he's back on top once again, and he's just coming through like a cannonball.
Good job from Spart1e there, kind of using that tank of Sorlag. Just good positioning here. The Tri-Bolt needs to get away, can't get through. Does take a lot of damage, but does finally escape, and he actually drops back down to deliver big rockets.
Nice.
And take another frag from nosfa, but he's very weak, railable right now.
He absolutely is. The big difference is just nosfa at the moment has had no items. He might be able to convert here, and he does, but he now needs to convert that frag into an element of control.
Love that play from nosfa. Dire Orb in for the Rockets. Can he finishes with the rail? Brilliantly done by the Brazilian there, but he's also using these rocket jump passes with Ranger to get around the map a lot faster, closing in with the Dire Orb. nosfa starting to heat up here as we are tied at 4. Just about to hit the 4-minute mark. There's some good LG. Spart1e trying to hang on with everything he has in the swap to LG somehow. That tickle, that's all he needed.
Yeah, the spit did so much damage. Slight overconfidence there from nosfa, not appreciating the amount of output that can come in that corridor. Spart1e hanging on with a thread at this point. He's got the weapons, but this time he's the one without the stack, so he will need to slow it down. Playing the angles with the rail, as we know he loves to do. Has that light to pull back on as well, so he's in a healthy enough position, and nosfa needs to respect that. He can't go aggressive, but as I say that, he doesn't care. He's going to go through with the orb, and somehow they get out without doing any real significant damage to each other until then.
was gonna say, nosfa doesn't believe in rules. You can't tell him about your rules, Dan. He ties it at 5, has the Mega. The heavy will go to Spart1e as he makes his way away, and nosfa a little bit perturbed there by the acid on the wall. Just making sure, just being safe as we're tied at 5, heading into the halfway point of map number 1 between these two.
Yeah, and as we hit the halfway point, it might begin to stabilize slightly as now the item timings have aligned, meaning both players have something to fall back on. Spart1e is the one just playing on the defense, nosfa trying to make this initiative and take the move forward. Spart1e missing that rail, opens the door for the aggression, it comes out. Has he got the right weapon to defend? He swaps to the LG, but he's just been floated. And nosfa picks up a frag and should get both of these items.
Wow! Oh, nosfa, wow. Spart1e in a bad way gets absolutely melted down as nosfa putting together a bit of a highlight reel here on map number 1.
You know, we've got the first time this map, its scoreline's begun to diverge from one another. 8-3, really just as you said, past the halfway point, so plenty of time for Spart1e. And he's now got himself back on the dice, so a little bit of a mistake there. nosfa didn't do any damage on the exit either. So he's going to have to go back to how he was playing in the opening engagements.
Feels like one of the few times we've seen Spart1e with a nice big stack, and even when I say that, the tri-bolt, wow. nosfa's got those NFTs. Nice friggin' tri-bolts, Dan, as he's still up by 3 and just doing enough chip damage to make Spart1e go away and reconsider any kind of a push. Spart1e from above, there's a dire warp and just closes the gap but misses with the rocket. That would have been huge. Spart1e hits a rocket of his own, and now the mad dash for Mega. Is nosfa going to do any damage here? A little bit of rocket from down below, just missing out on that rail.
Problem is, in these situations, the trades are just not enough for nosfa. He has to find a way to continue to do the damage he's doing, which is decent, but to mitigate the incoming damage, and that's just not the case. Spart1e predicts the movement from down below. Hits a nice rocket from above. nosfa's gonna go for this, but he's too early, and he will just tick it down.
I really thought Spart1e was about to get floated, but he would have had to do massive damage. So a good drop there from Spart1e using that stack and almost hits a rail. Goes for it, another one, can't quite connect. Mega's going to be up, so he can't just fall back to it. But trying to do that early damage, maybe close in on a frag before falling back. nosfa somehow hitting some damage on the way out first. But again, Mega's right there for Spart1e with a good split between the items, so he should be able to secure this heavy as well.
Map begins to quiet down now. Spart1e's slightly late to do any significant damage on there. nosfa once again just going aggressive, not showing any respect for Spart1e's positioning whatsoever. It does work out though, as he doesn't take a lot of damage. He needs to get this Mega to continue to sustain his lead. And why are you using the rail? But it doesn't matter if Spart1e makes it work just before the item's 40.
Not bad. If it works, it's not silly, Dan. DeHang said that once, as now he's only trailing by 1. 215 on the board. You don't have to, it's fine, because it already happened. Heavy pickup clean for Spart1e now, as the stack looking very good. Trying to get some damage with the tri-bolt, just firing in any which direction, but this next Mega might be huge, and we might see nosfa get some big damage to that grate again. There's the dire orb play, a little bit of misdirection this time. Does not commit. He's going to back away, so another clean item for Spart1e, but he's still down a frag.
But he's got the map completely knocked down, and we've seen already nosfa taking some riskier plays to get back into it. Spart1e this time forcing the issue. He does get the item. That's the only saving grace for it, is that he took that item. It means now he knows he can pressure in here. Hasn't got the rocket though, so he's going to have to try and do anything, but he has to back off. He knows he can't force his way through the corridor. He can't afford also to give away a frag. nosfa very early, but it doesn't matter. Great damage through the teleporter.
Wow.
Doesn't matter when Spart1e hits another great flick rail.
That was absolutely clutch from that, because you could tell that was going to break Spart1e's back, because nosfa is quite frankly playing a little bit disrespectful and saying you're going to have to hit all of your shots or I'll make you pay, and Spart1e does connect with a beautiful string of LG and ties it at 9 with a minute left. There's the dire orb play, drops back down onto a rocket, the second one won't connect as Spart1e tries to rail on his way out. Both players extremely weak, Spart1e with a little bit of armor, but Mega's going to be next. There's the drop down shotgun, the rail will miss right between the legs. Ole.
Ole, indeed. Some questionable decision-making from nosfa. As you said, the lack of respect is the only reason we're really seeing it 9-9, coupled with the clinicalness of Spart1e. Big major item coming up now. nosfa's in position, but Spart1e's there just in time to do damage. Only 47 though. But Spart1e, being the Sorlag, has a decent of enough stack here and is a long time before the Mega, but the positioning of nosfa means he won't be able to pressure this. Spart1e going in, sneaking around the corner, needs a rail for his trouble. nosfa going through. He can't take the TP now, surely he's being monitored by that spit damage. And it should be an overtime. First one of the season.
First one of the season indeed, as we're still on map number 1 for this second series of the day. 5 seconds away unless something crazy happens, Dan.
No!
And that's a bit of a blunder there with the Dire Orb. Does hit a rail. But that heavy is going to go to Spart1e, and now it's looking like a dire time for nosfa. 30 seconds until he gets the orb back to push through the telly. Can this be it? Nice. And it will be, and it all came down to a flubbed Dire Orb on the heavy. Dan, can you believe it?
I can actually. That game was a mess. Start to finish, that game was a mess. But gotta credit Spart1e. When in the moments happened and the pressure was there, he was always hitting the clutch shots, and that's not always the case with Spart1e. But this time it was, and he made it count. And sometimes I feel that you have to question some of the maneuvers of nosfa. You know, there were times where he was trying to force the issue too much, not respecting either the positioning or capabilities of Spart1e, and he made it pay.
Yeah, a lot of the time you kind of wonder, you can't keep getting away with this. And, you know, Spart1e actually put an end to it, because nosfa was playing a little bit too loose. I mean, the whole match, as you said, was a little bit scrappy, but nosfa using that Ranger passive and those rocket jumps and Dire Orbs a little bit too much to close the gap when maybe it wasn't always appropriate, but somehow made it work for most of that match. And then when it mattered most, just missing out on that heavy. Again, great shots from nosfa, fantastic combinations, hitting big rockets, good LG follow-up as well as rail, but Spart1e just kind of played the more consistent game throughout, and eventually nosfa's gambles ran out.
That's the thing, and I think it feels a little bit more extreme in context that we just saw Base versus Razy, you know, where Razy also played a highly aggressive game, but you could see the more balanced approach he had. In the pushes he was making were highly aggressive, but he was taking positions where he was forcing Base into engagements, but also secondly, he wasn't in a vulnerable position. It was more mid-range damage rather than nosfa, who was forcing his way into Spart1e's face, but he also wasn't doing the pre-work, if you will, to make sure Spart1e was low enough to make those pushes count. So that's where it verges on being too hyper-aggressive, and when Spart1e was beginning to connect with these rails at the right moments, it was enough for him to see the map out. And so that it was a very awkward back and forth in that regard, but it's always risky to do that against a Sorlag, particularly if she's not going to be low.
Yeah, a bit of a slugfest there. Spart1e able to scrap that one out. Again, playing a little bit more consistent throughout. nosfa, his luck ran out on some of those pushes. Spart1e goes up 10-9 as we head into map number 2. And as you said, El Clasico, Visor versus Nyx on Blood Covenant. You love to see it. That's right, Blood Covenant's back whether you like it or not. And I think it should be a fantastic matchup. It's going to say like 17 years ago, it feels like now in pandemic times. But yeah, Visor versus Nyx, Blood Covenant. We got nosfa on the Visor and Spart1e on the Nyx. Is there anything specific you'd like to see out of either player with their champion?
Yeah, less aggression, less mindless aggression.
I would love to see more aggression. I just meant tactically besides that. Is there any kind of keys to victory on Blood Covenant with either Visor or Nyx?
It's hard to say. I'm of the opinion, and I prefer the playstyle when you use both of those abilities in a proactive way rather than a defensive way. You know, the way, for instance, Razy was using the Ghostwalk early on in the previous match, or using the Visor to hunt the Nyx early on. Because if you're purely using it to chase down the Nyx when she pops a Ghostwalk, you're leaving yourself a lot of vulnerability, and you're lacking in terms of the total utility, because you might not use it for 6 minutes when you've wasted, you know, 4 or 5 uses of the ability. So it's definitely finding that balance and making sure you maximize those moments when you get to use your ability. Outside of that, obviously the control of the high ground is going to be key, and Nyx has a much easier time of that, so the Visor needs to find a way to try and solidify his position up on the bridge rocket area, and if the Nyx comes up through that route, then you have the advantage. So this is why it's a strategical, really interesting encounter, particularly on this map.
You heard it here first, folks. Having the thigh ground gives you a leg up. I'm going to take a look at the predictions. 58% for nosfa. And again, one thing that we didn't really highlight, the battle of the vials themselves. I mean, yeah, using your ability is wonderful, but it also gives you control over the vials. The more you use your ability, the more you get the vials, the more your opponent can't use it. And that could be critical, as you said.
Exactly. It's a longer term strategy when you employ it like that, because you can keep the pressure high, you keep your opponent low if you use it in the right way, and then you take away their resources and you can begin to grow into the game. It's not a one-time use ability where you need to make it maximize in that moment. Obviously that's great if it happens, but it's about the longer term game.
Totally agree. As we are going to load into map number 2 again. We're just, like
Fingers
to hang
crossed.
out a little bit. Yeah, exactly. It's just technical difficulties. This isn't the Dan and 40 show. We're just waiting on the players right now. But yeah, just running into some technical difficulties. Hang in there, chat. I know you love when we just talk aimlessly and endlessly, but we will get into map number 2 shortly. Again, if you missed it, if you just tuned in, spoilers, Spart1e just took it over nosfa in a very tight game on Vale. Working on getting into Blood Covenant. It's going to be Visor versus Nyx.
I mean, it doesn't help that nosfa looks like he's playing from prison, so maybe that's some of the connectivity issues.
Yeah, Lord knows what he did. I don't know. That's too TMZ for me, but we'll see. We'll see what he can do. Hopefully, in my opinion, another slugfest. I kind of love to see it, but I think this may be a little bit more tactical, given the champs and the map. Again, Blood Covenant back in the pool this season, but we'll see. Again, with nosfa, you never kind of know. He loves to gamble, and sometimes it pays off and it looks brilliant. Other times, as we just saw, luck runs out, goes the other way.
Yeah, and my eyes are on the Nyx here. Nyx is the one that can set the tempo. She can be the one to put the pressure on, because the way the map normally plays out is you normally have a trade between the heavy and the mega, completely different sides of the map. But the Nyx has the capability to obviously make the bridge jump, to get across that mid ground. And that's where the initiative can come from. That's where you can be proactive and pressure your opponent, surprise them, set up these traps. So it really is much more of an advanced role for the Nyx, where the Visor, you're almost playing on the back foot the whole time, just because you lack the mobility compared to the Nyx. And that's why it's really difficult actually to play the Visor in this type of game.
And with that, we have it. The Lords have breasted us. We're getting into map number 2, and this is going to be Blood Covenant again. nosfa versus Spart1e. And we're live finally as nosfa, tries to get a little stylish. Unfortunately can't make it, so he's going to just go for that heavy and say, you know what, whatever. Let me try it again. There it is. Love that jump, Dan. Gotta love it. Ooh, big rails as well.
Well, there you go, and that's the weapon of choice, and that's the key weapon on Blood Covenant. Although it's not the best angle to be using it from, and he realizes that and does manage to just get away for now. Picks up those vials, and that's what we like to see. Use the abilities early, get the utility out of them. And he's caught. Spart1e down below. Lovely read. He hasn't got the right weapon out though. He thought he could execute with the nail gun, and it just wasn't to be. 3 health. Nearly worked, but just not enough.
Yeah, just so close, but again, the weapon choice just not there. I mean, he's working with what he had. Unfortunately, Spart1e hangs on, and now he's able to grab a mega and have a decent stack, but nosfa right there to cut the map in half. Big rail, he should be able to convert there, but again, nail gun into rail. Can he finish? And there's a ghost walk right in the nicks of time. Spart1e trying to hold on to this frag lead here. 59 HP, no armor, no ghost walk. A tri-bolt and a dream, and nosfa dashes those dreams with a fantastic rail. Ties it at 1.
Yeah, nice. And that's what we want to see, a lovely rail from down below as well. And he hasn't even used the piercing sight yet. He knows that there's no ghost walk up, so this is the perfect time to keep the pressure high and go on the advance. He's going to make his way around to this heavy. He's got control of the map. Spart1e, though, won't have the confidence just yet to back on through. Takes control of this choke point. But the nosfa stack is sufficient to survive that encounter.
Ooh, that rail just missing out, but Spart1e had a little bit of armor as well. Was railable previously, now has the mega, looking really good. There's the ghost walk play. Should have heard the portal, and nosfa does as he drops down, tries to get a rocket behind him. Dodges bullets on the way out of the telly as well.
Spart1e's done a good job to get back into this game. Felt like nosfa would have wrapped it up. Big rocket from down low. I don't know how that was 100. Knocks nosfa right off the ledge. They both swap to the machine gun nice and early, but the friggin' clutch rail from Spart1e is there once again.
Yes, expletives everywhere, Dan, as Spart1e with a very clutch rail He's able to make the jump across now. nosfa needs to be careful coming out of the telly. Hits a little bit of rocket damage. Can't follow up. Never mind, does with the rail as he's fighting for this rocket. Lots of machine gun damage. And nosfa, what just happened?
Oh, yeah, the slap at the table. I don't know how nosfa got away with that one. Just peppering away with the machine gun and Spart1e ruining the day. Once again, he does hit a lovely rail, but it's just not enough.
Visible frustration there. Is a decent rocket, just missing out on the opportunity. nosfa waiting down below. There it is. Peeks his head out. 2 rails in a row, even after the mega. Spart1e is so weak, you wouldn't even be able to tell that he grabbed an item. Because there's the vision. nosfa sees where his prey lies here as he's making his way over to the heavy. Could catch him out, just didn't have the right weaponry.
I mean, we were expecting a bit more of a timid encounter, and once again these two brutes have proved us very wrong. Exchanging your life for a major item is not the worst thing in the world up against the Nyx, because look how vulnerable she is without that item. The question is, can you do any sort of damage in retaliation to follow up? That's the difficult part, trapping the Nyx. She can just get across the map so incredibly quickly, but also doing a good job of at least forcing the Ghost Walk out and keeping Spart1e second-guessing any movements.
Yeah, really good job there. You heard nosfa drop down, grabbing the Vale's vision was popped. There's the LG up the rocket pad. Spart1e can't connect, and he... What?
Okay.
Pops the Ghost Walk, and that lone rocket actually finishes off nosfa somehow, and Spart1e has a mega, and that could be a huge turn of momentum as nosfa was getting so close to getting that frag.
Yeah, that was a huge frag at that time, again, just before the mega. And now Spart1e feels confident enough to push across the map towards this next heavy. Only blessing in disguise for nosfa is that there's no Ghost Walk up, so if he can do some damage here, he will be able to convert, and Spart1e's just buying his time. It's actually a good thing to delay this, because now he can get out with the Ghost Walk up. He even hits a rail on the exit, and nosfa's struggling. It is only 4-2, but nosfa's definitely struggling.
Oh, and I think he missed his jump. He dropped down. He does hit a rail. Hits another one. Spart1e needs to be careful. Does pick up the mega. So the rail's keeping nosfa in this. But still, overall, Spart1e playing a very solid game right now on Blood Covenant.
And this is where we see the challenge and the vibes come into play. The way in which Spart1e is going to be able to keep away, keep on the far side of the map. Huge tri-box coming out. He knows he can push on him, but he's actually mistimed it. Doesn't matter anyway. He still gets the frag. Doesn't have a lot of stack to work with. No Ghost Walk as well, but nosfa has no weapons. He will be able to steal away this mega though. The question is, can he get out without taking any significant damage? Good dodging so far, and he does. But Spart1e will be able to keep the pressure high without the weapons to work with. nosfa is just a sitting duck.
And you gotta love that from Spart1e, knowing he had no weapons and just coming back and saying, I could take this fight, I could deal this damage. Big rockets, the LG, is it gonna be enough? No, nosfa will at least steal it. There's no way, okay, I was gonna say, there's no way he could turn that around with a shotgun. But he tried. Spart1e down to 67, grabs a health bubble, is weak for this next mega.
Yeah, but I mean, we're already at a phase now in the game where I genuinely don't know how he gets back into this game. Sure, he might get a frag here or there, but 6 frags in 4 minutes on this map with these champions just doesn't feel likely. nosfa's going to have to pull something magical out of the bag to stay in this game, and you know, you've got to start with the basics, and that's a clean pickup. So, you know, tick box for the first objective. He's caught Spart1e here without the Ghost Walk up. He needs to finish it now. It's a big opportunity for him, and he does. That's key. He took a lot of damage, but he gets the major items.
So potential for a comeback, but it's going to be a long road here for nosfa. I think he hears him just waiting to pounce here. Needs to be careful. Spart1e is going to go up the jump pad, and Ghost Walk is popped. Mega's not going to be up for another 10 seconds either way. So nosfa trying to track him, and there's the drop. What a play from nosfa. Well done, but still 4 frags between him and Spart1e.
Yeah, but he's doing it step by step, keeping it clean, making sure he does the basics. He can't afford to give away any of his major items. Spart1e, on the other hand, also cannot afford to just retreat to type and play incredibly passive, because without the Ghost Walk up, he really has no utility. So he needs to get the weapons, he needs to get position, and he's been caught once again. This time he does have the Ghost Walk up, but Spart1e, he needs a rail. He needs to get the high ground back.
Really just nicely done by nosfa, completely leaving up that mega just for that frag and getting closer and closer to potentially tying this up. Less than 3 minutes. almost gets that rail, but now he knows where Spart1e is. Ghostwalk is available for him to try and get out. What a rail through that corridor.
That was such a good rail. Spart1e won't know that's popped though. I don't believe he should have heard that. So that was actually a good use of it. You hear these bubbles now, so hearing those Vales, he will be aware it's on cooldown.
Almost hitting with the rail of Tribal, kind of throwing off his aim.
Nice. Oh.
90, can he get another one? Very patient, needs to be careful. Now he's stuck in no man's land and he's playing for the frag. There's the Ghostwalk as nosfa just missing out on an opportunity here, but Spart1e doing so much damage with that HMG, making him pay. There's the shotgun up the jump pad, finds the angle. Spart1e able to take that frag before the Mega, and that might be the deal sealer right there, Dan.
That's exactly what I was saying Spart1e needed to do. He had to find a way to stay in the game, build himself a stack, and then do some damage. And that was the perfect time over by that heavy. He was so vulnerable as a visor on that heavy because it's exposed and you've got no utility to get out. So that was the perfect decision from Spart1e, and now that will obviously seal the deal with a minute and a half to go.
Spart1e again taking him down as nosfa has to string those rails together to try and hit, and it's just a tall order. I mean, it's hard, especially on a hitbox like Nyx. You can't always go 3 for 3, 4 for 4, and nosfa a little bit of frustration maybe, but really well. Wow, and Spart1e picks him out of the sky. He's like, you don't even get a Mega on the way out. No, thank you. 1 minute left, and Spart1e's able to take this one, you know, a lot more convincingly than map number 1, but still, I think the constant throughout the first 2 maps are just the display of consistency from Spart1e, playing the map, playing well, moving well, using the items. And yeah, nosfa has flashes of just pure raw mechanics, but as you see here, that won't always bail you out.
It took him, yeah, it took nosfa too long to play the basics as well as he needed to, but also I feel that when he was playing the basics, he was getting into predictable rhythm, and that's what Spart1e was able to exploit. He understood the timings, he understood the rotation, and he was able to work around that, so he wasn't caught off guard, and then he caught nosfa in one of his item rotations. So there was definitely, yeah, that nosfa got into an element of comfort, and Spart1e exploited that. It was really smart.
The Quake economy in chat absolutely in shambles because of Spart1e here. 2 maps in a row. As, I mean, not to point it out, I know you hate it when I do, but we were both very wrong. Spart1e is able to take the first 2 maps, potential for nosfa to get this third, but well done to Spart1e, taking the series, tying it up. But as we go to map number 3, Spart1e looking to heat up more and more. Might be able to get the hat trick, the first one of the season.
He's looking better for it. nosfa is looking quite rusty. Definitely on the the strategy side, mechanics are fine. Like, we've seen better, but they're absolutely fine. It's more the decision making, and Spart1e is being clinical. He's playing the items better, and he was able to stabilize earlier, and that's what mattered in this particular match.
Just playing a better Quake game. More sound, playing, I guess you would say, maybe an ABC game more solidly than nosfa. And again, the mechanics shining through for nosfa, but some of these plays were very clutch from Spart1e as well. The last rocket into Ghostwalk, I believe he got 2 or 3 frags that way. Just super, super clutch from Spart1e, using that ability well, timing it really, really well. A little too close to comfort for me, but that's why I sit here and I watch, Dan. As again, Spart1e, 2 up. Going into the third map, it's going to be Ruins, nosfa on Strog, Spart1e on Galena, as we take a look at the stats from Blood Covenant.
This is the hardest one for Spart1e. This matchup for me was always in favor of the Nyx. I think it's very difficult to play this matchup as a visor. I understand the benefits, but a good Nyx player will cause so much mayhem because of everything outside of the abilities that gives her much more strengths. So I understand the choice from nosfa, but I'm not a bigger fan. I'm more of a fan of picking a champion that gives you the movement advantage, or at least movement parity, like an Athena, for instance. Nevertheless, that's history now. We're moving on to the final map, and this is a similar situation where nosfa's the one with a significant movement advantage, the speed advantage on the Strong, and he can use that and exploit that, and Galena has to play defensive. The difference is you can turtle up down in that heavy area. You're not as exposed as Blood Covenant. So Galena's still a fine pick, but you have to play around what your champion offers. You can't afford to do what Spart1e's been doing so far and overextend, get out on the map, and you will be exploiting that aspect.
Depending on the peaker usage, I mean, I would say that this should favor nosfa in terms of just vial usage. Or, excuse me, Spart1e in terms of vial usage, because throw down a totem, grab the vials, peaker a little bit more risky to use, a little bit more, you know, specific scenarios for use of peaker rather than totems, so maybe that'll play into it as well.
Yeah, for sure. But a very good Strog player will just instantly get into the face of a Galena, because the Galena is generally going to be somewhere defensive, and peek her in and do a little bit of damage. It, as you said, it keeps the vials at bay. It also keeps your opponent's stack at bay if you use it well. And the Galena can't get away, so you can also use it in one of those really annoying aspects where if they miss a rail, you just literally pepper them instead of just crashing it into them. So there's this really good game for the peeker as well, if you can use it to maximize that. So we'll have to see. I think I haven't been massively impressed with nosfa so far this series. He just looks a little bit out of form, but we did say coming into the season that's to be expected. It's been a long break, and everyone has different practice schedules, so we'll see if he is growing into this series or not.
We will see indeed, as I think we heard the noise, but you never know with these two rascals if we're going to get into the game or not. But we will bring it to you shortly as soon as we can, as I take a look at the predictions real quick. And are they just going to round it out? Is Chad just going to do it again? It looks like, actually. Now people are starting to respect Spart1e a little more with their predictions. They're like, you know what? Maybe he's going to take this one. I don't know. It looks pretty good now.
Surprised they got any points left.
Well, some people always bet the under, or predict the under, excuse me, so... I don't know. Some people build empires on those.
Yeah, those points whales out there, just hoarding the points.
Well, this is it. Map number 3 for Series 2 of the day between nosfa and Spart1e. We're going to be live on Ruins, nosfa on the Strog, Spart1e on the Galena, potentially working for the first hat trick of the season, but we're going to start off on nosfa, see what he can do to try and put a map on the board and in his pocket.
He needs something. He didn't look happy.
There we see the sliding of nosfa straight into a bit of a speed bump, so that is something to watch out for as well with the Galena. Not only will halt your movement, but if you post up around your totems, it could just be an absolute speed bump into a lot of damage. But right now, LG on LG, nosfa actually missing the beat a little bit, and Spart1e's able to take that one back and drop a totem to get all that health back.
Yeah, I understand why he took that fight, and it was just a mano, and somehow Spart1e comes out on top, so... credit to him there. His aim has definitely been on point. Sometimes he's been missing the easier of the rails, but when the pressure counts, Spart1e has been turning up today.
The party has arrived. 1 minute in, slowing down a little bit, making sure that there's no sound or no shenanigans from nosfa. He doesn't want to get caught out. As Spart1e trying to build his empire here. He's going to grab 2 more vials. Down goes the totem as well. It'll be the first of the trifecta. If he can get that going, that might be absolutely huge for him. Here's the Tri-Bolt from above. What a rail. There's the Peaker that we were talking about. More Tri-Bolt, but the Peaker reigns supreme. The Tri-Bolt not able to land enough damage, Dan.
Nope. Now we are tied up 1-1. Spart1e, though, picks up the item, but it doesn't matter when nosfa responds in kind. He was looking low himself, but he's now decided to hit some rails of his own. Spart1e, though, doesn't care. He knows how low nosfa is. He did take away some of the lighter armors. He's also opened the door here for Spart1e to get in and pick up that heavy for free.
I love the clapback. Just no fear. It's going to be another slugfest. There's the Peaker, the LG. This time, enough stack to burn through nosfa before the Peaker actually takes out Spart1e. He's going to go up by 1. I don't know how long this is going to last because this has been back and forth already. But we'll see. Again, Spart1e trying to make his way towards the middle of the map. Just missing out on a rail is nosfa. Does have the high ground. Doesn't want to drop, though. Might get floated here. So, a predicament, but instead he does drop with the LG. Spart1e doesn't even read it. Good rockets into the rail. Just barely misses. nosfa is barely alive on life support right now, and he keeps on fighting.
I don't know how that was a full rocket, but Spart1e gets away. This time he does not hit the clutch shot. But, symbolic of the first 2 games as well, we're seeing incredible aggression coming out, mainly from nosfa. It's just Spart1e responding and managing that aggression. So, the advice we gave in the first game remains true. It would be good to see nosfa play more stable, play the items, work his positions, not just force them. Because you can see Spart1e, he's the one doing all of this pre-work. And what?
Why? And Spart1e
headbutted a Peaker.
I feel like he's not respecting that Peaker because he just feels like he could push in and take out nosfa, and nosfa now up after some great rails from above. So the Peaker play is coming up huge for nosfa. Gigantic peeker, if you will, Dan, as a rail from above again. Spart1e just cannot go 10 seconds without taking damage from nosfa. nosfa has the upper hand right now, heating up, and that's exactly what you don't want out of the Brazilian.
Not at all, but yeah, seemed like the right play from Spart1e. He'd done great damage with the Tribot. nosfa missed all his damage, but Pika things.
That peeker can shred. As the rocket jump up for the Mega, almost connecting with that rail. That would have been gorgeous, and here's another peeker play again. Spart1e deals with it nicely this time, makes his way onto the Mega, missing with 2 rails, almost connecting as nosfa taking his time, playing nice and slow. But still, hanging around a little too long here and still just trying to do damage.
Yeah, he's given up the items relatively for free to Spart1e, and he will pick up this heavy. He did hit one crucial rail though, it was just before the pickup. So they're pretty much on even stacks here. We're going to have a confrontation. Of course, we're going to have a confrontation because they're in the same area. 2 alpha males.
Nobody backs down, Dan. There's no time.
No, nobody backs down.
But nosfa has to be very careful as he fired his last rocket, so now he's just got rails and a little bit of LG. Doesn't even top off the LG, just goes in, has LG and a peeker. The LG's surely going to run out, and it doesn't. He doesn't have rockets. This is curtains, and that is what you don't want. That is just the ammo management coming to haunt you there.
Exactly. That's just a sign of rustiness, as you said. That's something a player who's in the zone is more aware of and wouldn't make that maneuver. But to get in yourself into that predicament with no ammo, it's always going to end badly for you. So Spart1e does execute it. We're still tied 4-4 though. 5 minutes, and this is exactly how map 1 and 2 went. You know, it was very, very close, very messy, and all of a sudden Spart1e gets a clean frag and then begins to snowball. So nosfa needs to be self-aware and to begin managing it, and that's a good start, taking these defensive positions. So it does feel like it's becoming more stable.
Yeah, and as you said, after all that, we're still just tied at 4. So a lot of action, but both players enough respect to keep it relatively low scoring for now, as Spart1e trying to lay a trap on this outside armor here, just waiting for it to spawn, wants to pick it up, but needs to be careful. Now here comes the peeker. He's trying to get around it again, and he pays the price. Spart1e, please, respect nosfa's peeker. And wow, nosfa chains them together after that one, and is that decision going to be what cost Spart1e this map here? As nosfa drops down, good rockets, takes a little bit of totem damage and machine gun, but he's able to add more.
Yeah, nice. He might even be able to get back up onto this mega shot. Spart1e's there. Spart1e doesn't get there, but he's actually met in the corridor. That was greedy by Spart1e. He would have known that nosfa was coming. So questionable by Spart1e this time, and now nosfa is the one playing more methodical and more stable. He's also kept Spart1e's overstack at bay. I don't think he's had it once all game long. Yeah. Also approaching the territory now of Spart1e is the one that has to take the initiative.
Just such an incredible swing of momentum. After you saw the POD moment from nosfa, the click, click, boom, you thought it was all Spart1e and fun and games, and then Spart1e, just lack of respect for the peeker, just like that, it flops nosfa's away, almost ringing him out, but the double rail will still take him out. And now we're approaching 7 minutes, and nosfa has 5 frags of just leeway, Dan. How do you get back into this as Spart1e?
It's difficult. Set uphill battle anyway for Galena, as we said. Spart1e's actually not been using the Galena in the way we suggested. It's been, you know, he's been pushing out, overextending, and nosfa's, because he eventually became more stable, has just been abusing that aggression from Spart1e. Nearly converts there, but Spart1e himself is so low. It's a matter of time, and lovely through the chins of the eye right there. nosfa redeeming himself slightly, but he is still going to walk away having lost this series 2-1, but must feel slightly better now he's got himself on the board.
Definitely. Money in your pocket always feels good, even though you want that series victory. And again, playing for seeding, and Spart1e just has to be a little frustrated at the situation. I mean, you know, you tied at 4 after, admittedly, a mistake from nosfa, not counting his ammo, and then it all just goes horribly wrong. And I wonder, I would love to ask Spart1e why he thinks he could just get around that peeker. And, you know, peeker does such an immense amount of damage with that hyper blaster, especially into the kamikaze. It's just like, it's not worth it.
Yeah, there was some questionable mistakes. The big one for me was on the stairs. He got greedy. He had done some decent damage to nosfa. saw nosfa pushing it, he went out, and it was an amazing swap to the Pika, and Spart1e had the wrong weaponry and just got blasted. And from there on out, nosfa played nice and stable, played the items better, and Spart1e was forced to run at him in the end, and we can see here the consequence of that. 13:05 with a minute and a half to go. That's obviously a GG, I think. Spart1e maybe stop moving. No, he's back. But either way, he's going to be losing this game. And deservedly so, but it does work over the series.
Yeah, silver lining, you won the series, but I mean, still, you want to get the trifecta, you want to maximize your money, but nosfa, I think he's implanted at least, hopefully, in Spart1e's head that you have to respect that peaker, as the Brazilian Air Force might be on the lookout for nosfa as a drone pilot here, as he's shown us that he can really make that peaker sing. 1 minute left. It's just going to be a lap around the map for nosfa here. Might get some more frags. Ooh, beautiful tri-bolt. Yep. Count it.
Okay. Cool. Good frag.
So, a bit of the same story that we saw in the first series. You know, big first 2 maps, and then the third map just swings wildly the other way. Be it frustration, be it, you know, not having something bounce your way, but eerily similar, I would say. Although the first set was a lot closer on the first 2 maps, for sure.
That was an undisciplined brawl from start to finish.
Your favorite,
But
right, Dan? You weren't having an aneurysm at all.
It was stressful, but it was fun.
The final fight, right here. Wow.
When it takes all, oh, they draw.
There it is! Well, what a way to end it, Dan. What a way to end it there, as that's going to be
it's fitting. That's what I can say. It's definitely fitting. As the GG comes out. Do you like that graphic? And there we are. That was entertaining, but as a aspiring duelist, I would suggest you don't use that VOD as a way to learn how to play duel.
Yeah, probably not the best blueprint, but, you know, definitely entertainment, as you said. nosfa coming out on top on map number 3, able to put himself on the board, get some pocket change. But Spart1e taking the series, although after that last map you would wonder how. But again, I think frustration played into it a little bit here. At the 4-4 mark, when nosfa kind of had another peaker frag, it just all spiraled out of control for Spart1e.
Yeah, it was yeah, exactly that. And nobody was willing before that point, or should I say, to insert themselves in the map control department. Very back and forth, more willing to take fights and extend, and then that frag was the beginning and the end for Spart1e, as you said.
LG again, just yeah, it's painful to see. I would love to see if anybody can put up a hat trick, but 2 series down, and so far 2-1s across the board. And again, that final frag kind of indicative of the entire series, just bruising, brawling, taking each other out. nosfa able to put up 1 map 18-8 as we take a look at the stats. Spart1e walks away with the series victory, winning the first 2 maps, but just a bloodbath through and through, and you love to see it, Dan.
24% rail though, that's uncharacteristic from Spart1e, and slightly a symptom of why he lost, but not obviously the reason. So it was fun, but we move on. Well played for Spart1e. I don't think many people would have predicted him to walk away. I think in terms of recent history, previous stages, one would have expected that, but this is a new season. It's been a while now. Things have evolved. New map pool, and Spart1e was looking good on the mechanical side.
Yeah, not too bad at all, and you got to wonder, was it a little bit of lack of practice, lack of just fundamentals, just playing enough to kind of keep your eyes on your ammo, stuff like that? We saw some pushes from nosfa. Now, granted, he's known for pushing, but usually he knows he has ammo to back it up. We saw the push on the heavy where he ran out of rockets and LG. Yeah. It was just a little bit sloppier than we're used to seeing from nosfa. I'm sure he'll brush that off as we move forward into the season, but that's it. Done and dusted is series number 2. And again, that was the first international game of the regular season, because now we're worldwide, in case you missed it. But I think we take a little bit of a break, Dan. We come back. I think we have a big one next. Dramas and Cypher. We'll battle it out. But first, we're going to take a break, chill out after this one, and we'll be back with more Quake action.